There are 1.8 billion young people in the world today.
That's a lot.
Most of us live in lower-income countries.
200 million of us aren't in secondary school.
A lot of us didn't even finish primary school.
Even the nearest school can be too far.
A waste of time.
Unsafe.
There are more of us,
but fewer of us are working.
I couldn't find a job.
I'm not allowed to have one.
These are our generation's problems.
But our generation has the solutions.
They're global
and local.
They're innovative.
And they work.
We have the solutions.
And you have the power.
The expertise.
The resources.
So let's co-create.
Refine.
Scale up.
We need classrooms that are online and on point.
A second chance if at first I don't succeed.
It doesn't stop at literacy or numeracy.
We need new skills too.
Problem-solving skills.
Soft skills.
Math skills.
1 in 3 women aren't learning, training, or working.
As opposed to 1 in 10 men.
I don't need to find my voice, I have a voice. I just need to be heard. And we won't stop searching for new ideas.
We can connect every school in the world to the internet.
Instantly translate languages so we can work anywhere.
Swipe right into a career.
Our generation
is 25% of the population.
But 100%
of the future.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Generation Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to the SDGs Global Festival of Action Workshop, Voices of Youth, the SDGs Action Catalyst in the COVID era. This session is the part of SDGs Global Festival Action. So if you're joining us here directly in Zoom, we strongly encourage you to log in to the event platform afterwards. You can then benefit from joining any one of 6 stages, meetings, and connecting with others in the connections zone. You can also check out up to 20 exhibits and find additional information in the resource library. In today's session, which is organized by youth with support from UNICEF, we'll be introducing various activities by 13 young leaders from around the world to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. All young leaders here today come from different countries, surroundings, ages, and backgrounds. Each of them is running their own activities with perspectives unique to youth regarding gender, mental health, minority groups, and more.
We'll be asking the speakers 3 questions to share their experiences, ideas, and perspectives for you, the audience, to discover the motivations, challenges, and future visions that they have. They will also talk about what is needed to promote actions toward the SDGs and how we can work together more effectively. We hope to make this session an uplifting one for you, the audience, that your attitude toward the SDGs changes in a positive way at the end of this session.
Now we would like to introduce today's speakers. Just to let you know, we're the youngest group of people in the entire festival, so let's keep this session full of energy. I would like to first introduce Adam Al-Hassan, a university student from Ghana who is interested in women empowerment. Her project focuses on nurturing female leaders, and in the COVID-19 pandemic situation, she cares about the mental health of teenage mothers. Damu, can you give us a wave? Yep, okay.
Akitoshi Nagasapati is a university student from Japan who has interest in solving issues related to conflicts, human rights, multicultural coexistence, disaster prevention, and social participation of youth. He organized international sessions and symposiums with Indonesia and Korea when he was at high school, and recently worked on raising political consciousness among youth in the governor election of Yamagata, his hometown. Hi, Akitoshi.
Janobi Rahman is a university student from Bangladesh who is interested in mental health issues and soft skill development. She launched a real-life task-based gaming platform called Captain Earth to make people more aware of kindness, goodwill, and leadership. Say hi, Genovi. All right.
Shun Kageyama is a university student from Japan who has a strong interest in biodiversity, the environment, and mental health issues. He's a part of the Empower project, focusing on the spread of the fashionable symbol magenta star, which helps coming out by supporters to raise inclusiveness of the society to make daily life easier and happier for everyone. Hi Shun, can you give us a wave?
Hi.
Aya Mortada is a university student and a fashion designer from Lebanon. Her interest is in gender discrimination and unemployment led her to create Créez votre style project to teach fashion design and marketing to girls and youth, and another one, Eco Kucha project to tell youth about sustainable design. Hi, Aya.
Yuka Konishi is a university student from Japan who is interested in marginalized populations and their voices. She runs an online platform called Voices of Youth Japan, or VOYJ, with her colleagues to let youth share their views and ideas. To help them understand the differences lying between them, to let youth share their views and ideas, and to make them feel connected to others. Hello, Yuka.
Ashandi Triyoga Prawila is a university student from Indonesia. He is interested in mental health issues because he himself has undergone a mental breakdown. He volunteers in the support circle Indonesia to ease people's depression and anxiety and is also a co-founder of a committee called CIMSA UNEJ, which addresses various social issues through activities targeting specific groups of people. Hi, Yoga.
Ruka Hiroe is a university student from Japan who is interested in gender issues and the LGBTQ community. She founded a student-centered club to let people know about the LGBTQ community through pop cultural means such as films and music. She believes in the power of entertainment because it affects people's mind directly and makes it easier to invite people to think about hard topics like the SDGs. Hello, Luca. Hi.
Next, Muhammad Haris Jimmon is a high school student from Thailand who has a strong interest in educational issues. He created BIE, Believe in Equality card game to raise awareness about equality among youth. He also takes part in multiple projects, fundraising to help hospitals through book donation, handmade face shield donation, and English teaching camps for local children. Hi, Harris. Great.
Mariam Haraner is a digital strategist and data scientist with a background of sociology and anthropology in Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. She organizes the Eid Yard Sale project to heighten people's self-esteem, especially of those who do not afford to buy clothes for special occasions like Eid through cross donation. She also started a campaign called #COVID-19 My Language last year to help people stay connected during the lockdown. So, hi, Mariam.
Hello.
And the last speaker that I will introduce is Kokoro Ogawa. She is a high school student from Japan. She is interested in the inequality that lies in educational systems and hopes to realize a peaceful society. She launched an online platform for those who feel uncomfortableness at school, aiming to support their choice. Hi, Kokoro.
So now let us introduce moderators ourselves. My name is Satoko Hagino, a student at the University of Tokyo who is interested in literature and illustrated books. I'm a member of Voice of Youth Japan along with Yuka and belong to the editorial team and the external relations team. Nice to see you all.
And My name is Shunsuke Oka, known here as Shuno. I'm currently the chief of the external relation team in the Voice of Youth Japan, as well as the member of the Empower Project with the other Shun here today. I'll be moderating the session with Satoko, and let's have a wonderful session. So let us open today with a poll, including everyone who is watching our session today. So what is your motivation for your social activities? So please select the ones that matches you, and it can be more than one. If none of these options apply to your answer, then please select other, and please feel free to respond your answer in the Q&A box. So I'll leave for everyone to answer for a couple of minutes, for a 1 minute, and see how the result goes. So meanwhile, I'll briefly talk about my motivations, and it would be, I would say it's for myself, and I think it's for the people who are suffering in difficult conditions. It is because I take part in the Voice of Youth Japan to hear about the voices that tend to be kind of unseen and hidden in the society. And I'm working to raise that and bring that to the world. So, okay, now we got the result. 165 votes, that's quite a lot. So I think here, for everyone who is participating in this session, a lot of people chose people for suffering in different difficult conditions, and also for the people in society. I think it's really wonderful. Everyone has their own preferences and different motivations. And I would also like to ask the same questions to the speakers. So the results came like this. And let's see. Can I ask Aya on why you chose yourself, people in society, and also other?
Hello, I'm Martada from Lebanon. I think that the great motivation for the human being is himself. The fundamental change begins with ourselves, and if it were not for the support of the surrounding people, starting from family to friend, the road will definitely be difficult. I mainly work of my community so that one day I can go to the world and solve global problems, and this is a major reason that motivate me to move in my community. As for children with cancer, they are the main motivation for me. I lost my dearest friend Noor because of cancer, and she believed in my ability to make change. So I devoted most of my work to making this group happy. Thank you.
I see. Thank you very much. It's kind of sad to hear that you lost your friend through cancer. Okay. Can I also ask Patti on why you made these choices?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Hello, everyone. My name is Akitoshi Nagasawa Patti. My motivations are one, myself and 4 people in society. And actually, my father is Nepalese and my mother is Japanese. So I grew up in a bicultural environment. In other words, multicultural coexists in my mind. And so because of that, I'm very interested in knowing and experiencing different cultures. This is the first motivation or start point of my action. And also my thoughts closely connect to international vision. The UNESCO Charter says, since wars behind the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. So I choose 1 and 4. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patti. And I would like to also thank everyone who participated in the poll. Okay, so now let's move on to our main questions. The theme of SDG Global Festival of Action is to hashtag turn it around for people and the planet. So I would like to ask, how do you turn it around? What makes your project creative, original, and also innovative? Let's start with Harris, as you mentioned that you're currently taking part in a project aiming to raise the voices of young people and create a safe place to exchange ideas. Can you tell us more about your project?
Sure. As I say, like BIE card games, so Believe in Equality card games, is a tool for young children in community turning their face into face together. So by using the safe space to talk and like exchange their ideas about the social movement on how they could apply or like engage or like be part for the social change in the future. And like especially this innovation is allowed for everyone to express their feeling or their perspective in equally and positively. So this process lead us to see the occur, the understanding to each other, especially in a diversity group. Well, moreover, these games also like talk about deep conversation, especially the issues in community, which is rare that couldn't find any easily, especially with the card games that create also fun and also like great understanding to each other. Well, this is what make us unique. So play with fun and then create understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause to Harris for it's hard to be the first batter. Okay, thank you. And I also love how it's not just a game for fun, but it's something that provides like a safe place for various deep discussions. And to be honest, I would love to play that game someday. So maybe you can bring it over when you come to Japan.
Okay, so let's move on to the next speaker. I remember Janobi also pointed out the possibility of games in your project in mental health. How did you use your engineering background in your innovative action?
Thank you, Sataka-san. Hello, everyone. This is Janobi Rahman, pursuing computer science and engineering from Bangladesh. So last year during COVID, when a lot of people, young people especially, and also my friends, including my younger sisters and brothers, they're all in stress and they were getting bored. So me and my team, my friends, all turned around for them and came up with an exciting solution. So we developed a gamified platform called Captain Earth Be the Change that helps youth aging from 10 to 18 practicing soft skills by completing real-life tasks, and that also helps them lessen their mental stress and improves their well-being. We started #BeTheChange campaign, online campaigning, collaborating with leading schools of Bangladesh to educate young students about the importance of developing soft skills like kindness, leadership, and goodwill. We also talked about the importance of mental health and well-being so that no one has to suffer alone. Okay? And we aim to be a harassment-free platform that promotes positive and good vibes among youth to make them more empathetic so that they can contribute better and understand each other better for the welfare of the society and also the country at large. Thank you.
Thanks, Janobi. It's interesting to see you focus on soft skills such as kindness, leadership, and goodwill. And it seems to work well on realizing a better world. So I like your idea. So thank you, Janobi.
Thank you.
And today we have multiple speakers taking actions in the field of mental health. And one of them is Shun Kageyama, who is taking part in a project to achieve a world where anyone can easily express their passion to help or volunteer with a simple logo. What is the creative point of your project?
Thank you very much, moderators. My name is Shun Kageyama. As they mentioned, I'm a member of Empower Project. The Empower Project aims to make everyone be a supporter using this Nojandesta logo, through which anyone can show his or her willingness to support others. We call this process coming out by supporters. In Japan, we tend to take coming out by those who need support. but this project promotes the opposite, coming out by supporters. If you want to show your willingness to support others, all you need is to wear this badge like this. Simultaneously, if you need support, all you need is to ask people wearing this badge for support. This is the original point of our project. Coming out by supporters is useful for those who do not hope to disclose their personal identity or conditions. In addition, this will also be helpful for those who want to offer support but wondering how to express their willingness. Therefore, Magenta Star is useful for both those who want support and those who want to support. The Empower project is innovative in its focus on needs of individuals instead of categorizing people based on their attributions. Anyone needs support when not feeling well or being in a foreign town. Likewise, anyone can become a supporter. By promoting this project, we want to turn it around to see differences as a benefit rather than a threat. In short, we do not need to fear differences, but should appreciate them. Because of the differences, we can support each other. Also, we want to promote a new paradigm to utilize emotional well-being as a key global monitoring indicator, in addition to traditional ones. Thank you.
Thanks, Jun. The phrase "turn it around to see differences as a benefit" was impressive to me. I hope Magenta Star in your project will be spread to a bigger part of the world soon.
Okay, so another speaker here today working in mental health is Yoga, who's volunteering in a support group initiative for depression and anxiety from his own experience and a point of view as a survivor. So can you tell us more about like the creativity and the innovativeness of your project?
Okay, thank you, Suno-san, and also Satoko-san. Hello all, my name is Ashandit Yoga, or you can call me Yoga from Indonesia. So actually, this initiative is also a solution that we brought according to the research by CIMSA Indonesia, that we have found that mental illness is a serious problem in Indonesia, especially with the stigma going on. And based on that self-reporting questionnaire, we found that the means average result is exceeding quite a lot from the cutoff that's set by the Ministry of Health. And that is quite an alarming fact. So in response to that, I have been trying to contribute not only as a survivor, but as also a future medical workforce to normalize mental health discussion. One of them is, as mentioned by Shuno, through a support group for depression and anxiety, which is modified virtually due to the pandemic. So in this online setting, we have a batch of several groups of around 5 participants, moderated by mental health passionate and facilitated by experts like psychiatrists and psychologists. And in addition to that, we sometimes added some interactive discussions like to add virtual challenges, for example, about coping mechanism as well. And other than that, as an active CIMSA Indonesia member, we also have been shifting our method virtually, ranging from webinars to capacity building sessions, with a lot of support from established stakeholders such as UNICEF Indonesia, who helped us a lot, one of which through a collaboration in mental health awareness raising series called Ruang Peka, in which I also had a chance to be a part of. So actually, there are a lot of bright sides of the crisis which allow us to accommodate the needs of many while collaborating as well with more open access in transcending boundaries. So this allow us to create more impacts in what we are doing despite the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoga. Let's give a round of applause to him as well. Yeah, I can see everyone. Great, great, great. And I also strongly agree with how raising awareness for mental health is really important these days, because we don't get to see people in person each other that often as it was in the past. And I totally agree with you and really support your project. Okay.
So another recent topic that we hear often is gender inclusiveness in our society. And Ruker has been taking actions through entertainment to bring down the barriers in discussing gender issues. Here in Japan, people tend to think those kind of discussions are rather difficult. So how are your actions unique, Ruka?
Hi, thank you, Satoko-san. I am the representative of the student organization SELF, which works to eliminate prejudice and discrimination against the LGBTQIA+ community in Japan. And then, as Satoko-san said, my organization and I myself too work mainly through entertainment, such as music and then movies, because I want to create a society where like social issues are not something very like that only highly conscious or studious people take care of, but it should be something that everyone can think about. Like, especially as Satoko-san said, in Japan, you know, talking about social issues are tended to be looked at something very difficult, hard to do. So in the past, we've held events such as watching and discussing LGBTQ movies while eating pizza. And at work, we had a workshop to break down the gender norm through psychological testing game. And also we had like a music party to think about LGBTQ rights and then something like that, performing and dancing to LGBTQ related music and something like that. So it sounds really fun, right? So like we often have participants who have never thought about gender issues seriously. And such people come to our event because they like music or they just want to watch a movie, or sometimes they come to our events just because they want to eat a pizza. But that's fine, because in the end of the event, you know, like they are kind of aware of how positive and how beautiful it is to be themselves, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation. So it's fine to come to our event like with the reason for pizza or anything. So we try to approach people who are not studying about the gender issues, if we're not studying about social issues. I believe that it can be a really good way to create an inclusive society. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruka. I liked how your event sounds exciting. And that will certainly work as a key to change the impression of the SDGs, especially for those take those actions to be difficult. So thank you.
And the last speaker that I would like to ask is Patti, who has organized various sessions and symposiums to let people, especially the young generation, to learn about different cultures and different way of thinking. So can I get some ideas from you?
Thank you, Shinsuke-san. As I mentioned before, because of my background, I'm very interested in knowing and experiencing different cultures. However, people, particularly young generation in my hometown, Yamagata City or Yamagata Prefecture, that are located in north part of Japan, called Tohoku area, think it is quite limited to exchange with foreigners or experiencing different culture. Like I feel like the kind of atmosphere from the people of Yamagata City or Yamagata Prefecture. And on the other hand, my hometown, Yamagata City, is designated UNESCO Creative Cities Network, UCCN, as film field since 2017. The city designated to UNESCO Creative Cities Network as film field is only one in Japan. So I focused on this network and I launched the Connect People Around the World through Film of Yamagata project and cooperate with Yamagata City. And at the project, I and some members in my school created a short film, High School Life in Yamagata, that introduced our school life and screened that film in high school of Papua Province, Indonesia. And we communicated with Papuan students who watched the film face-to-face and also online. Also, we organized seminar about Papua province and symposium to think about future exchange through film. through that meaningful opportunity, we can help or broaden Yamagata citizens' viewpoints of the world and this diversity of culture or life and identity through film. And now I and some university students prepare for launch UNICEF Youth Volunteer Team. And of course, I'd like to act to achieve a world where the rights of every child are realized as university students' perspective from the perspective of university students. And also, I would like to provide an opportunity knowing and experiencing different cultures or different ways of thinking to especially Japanese students. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatih. So so far, is everyone enjoying the session? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying it? Okay, great.
So, okay, the next question is about the changes everyone has made under the pandemic. As everyone is experiencing right now, the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically changed their daily lives. Although the scale of the effect of the pandemic varies among your surrounding environments, the pandemic has also revealed the new potentials and needs in leaving no one behind, the priority of the SDGs. Regarding this, under the COVID-19 pandemic, how did you change your approach to leave no one behind?
So first, I would like to ask Kokoro, the project you have started came from your desire to help students experiencing truancy being absent from school due to a major situation, changes brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, right? In terms of the project implementation, I assume that it was possible to proceed to this point, taking advantage of the pandemic situation. Could you tell us about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the project itself and your motivation? I am the leader of the support change. So under this COVID-19 situation, this is the first for me to engage in this project. So due to this situation, one of my motivation was not to expect too much because of this COVID-19 situation. And after all, I myself, I'm still in high school, and not being able to experience positive student life, I lost a lot of days. And I think that students who did not attend school also had a hard time dealing with the changes in their environment. So that is why I was most conscious of spending time without keeping up with the high motivation and expectations. Not being highly motivated, I was thinking that tomorrow may be a good day for me. So I was conscious of telling myself, as well as the students who came to me for consultation, that today may be tough for you, but tomorrow might be bright and happy day for you. Thank you very much. That's a great project. So that's based off from your past experience as well. So you are really supporting your friends, and I really like your project. So next, Yuka-san. So Yuka, you are involved in running the platform that creates connections for the youth generation. So I think it's an important place to share various voices from some thoughts that comes up or posted as the messages you want to convey to the society. So this serves as a great platform. So have you noticed or anything changed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic? Thank you for the question. So Voice of Youth Japan has posted a special article on how to deal with the pandemic situation dedicated for young people, noting that there's not much information about COVID-19 directed for youth. So we also held the first online event, Ouchi Kaigi House Conference, where youth from all over Japan shared their thoughts on the COVID-19 situation. So in addition, in cooperation with partners such as UNICEF, we have held several online forums to create a world of youths around the world who are engaged in various activities related to refugees and with disabilities, and shared ideas and actions for post-COVID-19 world that respects various differences. Also, I myself became a college student immediately after moving to Tokyo for college. I had to refrain myself from going out, and I felt very anxious and lonely. But while I was involved in the online community called VOIJ, I had many wonderful encounters and many things to learn from others and was able to spend a fulfilling time. So I feel that the significance of this platform, which connects you safely beyond geographical restrictions, has become clearer under the COVID-19 pandemic. And specifically, our goal of listening to the voices of young people who are socially marginalized and ensuring accessibility for all from the outset has become all the more important, and realized the magnitude of the role that I would assume in order to achieve this. So you need to realize that. I would like to assume that the roles and responsibility. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. So very positive outlook. Under COVID-19, you have such a positive outlook that it's really impressive and powerful, and very much giving you the positive note on your end as well. Thank you.
Okay, back to English. And now let's move on to Adamu, who is taking actions for teenage mothers affected by the lockdown. So can you tell us more about the kind of approaches that you took in the pandemic?
Okay, so hello everyone. During the pandemic, we all realized that it was a very devastating moment for everyone, especially young people and teenage mothers in Africa, especially Ghana. We had a lot of cases around sexual abuse, and also teenage mothers were afraid to go to hospitals because when they go, there's some of the symptoms they had, the nurses thought it was signs of COVID. So during the pre-COVID era, we used to go into communities, meet all of them at once, have a conversation with them, and also try to find out issues or problems that they are facing. But when COVID set in, it was really devastating and mentally sucking for them because they had to be at home, and so we had to find a different alternative. And this alternative was going into their communities and meet them in minor groups. So pre-COVID, we used to go into about 5 communities in a day. But during the COVID, we could only go to a community in a week, just one community in a week. And when we go, we meet them, we try to spend more time with them. So we meet them one-on-one. So each person will be assigned to a mentor, each person will be assigned to a mentor in that way. So it was very effective because we realized that we kind of had, they did it very openly because no one was listening, no one was hearing, just you and the person. So it kind of made them open up to people and tell us what they were facing. And I think another alternative we did in the urban areas was getting people on Zoom. So the capacity building that we did, that was confidence building. We tried to get young people on Zoom that they had mobile phones. So we had them on Zoom, and then we interacted with them, what they do during this lockdown, what are they doing, how do they find being at home. And honestly, some of them didn't find being at home very safe. They felt that their safe places were in school. And also another alternative we did with our teenage mothers was to call them regularly. So as we are home, we call them to find out what they are going through. And I think we had few cases of depression that we had to meet a doctor friend who is a psychologist to speak to some of them on mobile phone. And so these were some of the alternatives we had. Hadn't been COVID, we wouldn't have known that meeting them one-on-one would have been so effective. So thank you.
Thank you, Adamu. From my experience, and I think everyone is the same, but meeting somebody in person is a really special thing in these days. So I think what you did would be something memorable for all the teenage mothers and the people that you met. So I also heard that Mariam started a campaign related to COVID-19 called #COVID-19 in my language. So can you tell us more about this?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the question. So during the start of the pandemic, when the first case of the virus was announced in Nigeria, I was worried because I knew how it spread and how harmful it is. I also knew that everyone had a part to play to help others, to stop the virus from getting to others, especially since the media was already predicting a high death rate due to the COVID-19. I also thought communication and information were part of the solutions, but were also barriers for many. You see, my country, Nigeria, is diverse with many languages and ethnic groups. If people do not understand the virus, how will they know how to prevent it? So this made me come up with a project which I called COVID-19 in my language, which I tagged as a challenge. I sent out a script which was talking about the virus, how to prevent the virus, and what a part everybody could play. So I sent the script out. I told people to make this script in their languages, make videos using the script in their languages. So people sent and shared videos in various languages across the country, including sign language. So these videos were shared. So even those that could not interpret to maybe the old ones, the aged in their community about the virus, they were able to show the aged these videos. So with that, they were able to understand better, and people got better understanding of the virus and how to prevent the virus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. Since there are like so many information regarding COVID-19 these days, I think your project was really meaningful and important in sharing correct information to everyone and telling everyone how to correctly be aware of the virus. So lastly, for this question, I would like to ask Aya about your project. So can you tell us more about the specific approaches that you made?
Hello. We all know to be an entrepreneur, it means your tremendous ability to adapt. Corona has affected the whole world and not only fashion design, but it was a cause of a radical change in the way of think. But before we reach the change, I want to inform you, the coronavirus was not the main reason for the change in Lebanon, but the explosion for Beirut port on August 4 and the suffocation economic crisis were sufficient reasons to change my concept of fashion design and make me go deeper into sustainable fashion design, especially after the closure of the international textile markets and most of the international fashion houses in the Lebanon. Therefore, I mainly worked in emphasizing the concept of sustainable fashion design through many seminars related to this topic through social network sites and reopening fashion design courses remotely to reach large segments of the society. In addition, it launched the Eco Couture project related to sustainable fashion design, which worked to emphasize the principle of recycling texture waste to mainly benefit from the discard fabric and save product costs. The coronavirus was a great challenge for all designers to realize the importance of returning to environment-friendly fashion design through the principle of recycling and online marketing. Corona was a great opportunity to raise awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Aya. I've actually heard how much suffering these days and going through a hard time because I also have many friends there, and I love your idea and how you tackle various issues from different cultural perspectives. So this wraps up our second question, and I would like to move on to the third question. So far we heard various unique ideas and innovations of young leaders to solve the remaining issues of their communities and our world. And every action taken by our speakers today leads to achieving different multiple goals in the SDGs. So our final question today is, what do you think is really needed to achieve the SDGs? And also, what would you want the leaders and the influencers of the world or your country and the community and other youth to know and do for the future? So we'll have all of our speakers answer this question. And I would like to start off with Adamu.
So what I want our leaders to do, I would like to suggest that the SDGs should be inculcated into our educational system. So young people will have more knowledge about the SDGs, and with that, it will be implemented because you have more knowledge about it, and young people will take it up and lead the way. Another thing I would like to suggest is there should be a general dialogue. Our leaders should create opportunities for young people to also take part in decision making and learn from them, gain experiences from them. And we are so equipped with the modern world. We know what is happening right now more than the old people who are occupying leadership positions. So I think that there should be a kind of a generation dialogue between young people and the older people so that we all learn from each other. The effects of this, the absence of this is a result of a recent happening in my country. A university that produces journalists, they are being asked to pay, they are being asked to defer their courses for a year just because of late registration. And I think this is unfair because if young people are part of the decision making, they will actually bring it up that some young people have to take care of themselves in school. So you should not make them defer their courses simply because they are doing late registration. Another issue is our leaders should resource our innovations. They should create opportunities for us to be able to explore, know more about our capabilities, develop on them. Resourcing innovation is not just about funding, it's not just about money. You could also create mentorship programs for young people to develop on what they know. A junior high school student in my country was able to use metals to create a car, junior high school, to create a car, and the car was working effectively. But after few publicity, the government did nothing about it. This person could have been mentored to do so many greater things, but the person is just left to go after publicity. So I think the government should create more opportunities for we young people to develop ourselves. And I think the SDG should be inculcated into educational systems. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next I'd like to speak to Shunkei. So can you give us some comments?
Hey, thank you. Time is coming, so I would say shortly. The pledge of SDGs is left no one behind, so it is really important to include various actors in SDGs action. We should recognize SDGs as a subject for which we have to take action in the available way, not a special subject only for the government or the particular activists. It is true that approaches to our health, such as earth and cultures, cannot be estimated easily, but they have a big power to change the world, I believe. SDGs action is not hard work. All you have to do is to do what you can do for the better world. Just join us. I believe our health will promote SDG. Thank you.
Thanks, June.
And next, I would like to ask Aya.
Okay. Today I want all leaders and all those with influence to stress the importance of sustainable development. The SDGs should be subject in universities and school and visible in all laws, national laws, and all businessmen is a project. I want businessmen to support emerging youth projects and encourage them to continue making change. Change begins when we start believing in the youth abilities and capabilities. We have to make room for the youth of the world to express themselves and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
次、ゆうかさんお願いしていいですか？
Next, I would like to ask Yuka. So rather than focusing on individual goals and targets, it's important to realize the fact that all SDGs actions are linked to the fundamental goal of leave no one behind. And we should make this central promise our priority and carry out our actions. I think that's the most important thing. And I would like the young people of the world to know that there is this platform called Voice of Youth Japan. And I hope they read about the articles or they post their voices and communicate their voices there. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
So next, can I ask Genovi?
So sustainable development goals should be achieved together with youth, experts, and everyone. I think oftentimes young people are neglected, thinking that they lack the expertise in such cases. But the fact is, more young people engaging in such actions will create a diversified pool of bright ideas, which can tackle real-world problems even in an innovative way. You can bring new, fresh perspective to SDG actions, which are often overlooked. Youth with experts and experienced bunch working together can only make the change, I believe. So working like a team with each other, not competing with each other, will be fruitful, creating even bigger impact. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, Patty, please. Akitosh Patty.
Thank you, Satoko. Okay, thank you, Satoko-san. To achieve the SDGs, I have, there are two important points. First, we have to realize the SDGs is our goal, and also the SDGs is, like a partnership goals. So we have to, we have to make international or intergenerational partnership globally and also locally. And I would like to particularly have an opinion to leaders of our community or local leaders of Japan. We, young generation, also have strong passion and interests to our society. In addition, we have our own unique idea and power of action. Many of local community of Japan faced rapidly population decreasing. It really affect after 10 years or 20 years, or that we will be the core of society. So that's why young voice are very important now. So please listen our voice. Please watch our creative activity. Please use our passion and our power for the sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have Mariam, please?
Okay, so I would want the society to support projects aimed at improving the lives of people. This could be done through different forms of encouragement. Also, the country leaders should provide reliefs and reduce the high cost of living of the people. In Nigeria, the cost of living has increased tremendously since the start of the pandemic. And we saw many flouting the lockdown rules because they had to fend for themselves and their family. This might have been avoided if adequate relief packages were provided for them and their families. So better policy formulation, implementation, and better service delivery will make lives easier and also improve the trust between from the people. Also improve the trust between the people and the system and cooperation between the people and the system. The community should also abide by the rules. They were stated for our protection. We should also show empathy and know that we all need one another. Working together will make the SDGs easier and quicker to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, Haris.
Thank you for your question. Well, I hope that everyone has realized that SDG is about everyone. It's not just about specific groups or any innovator. So that could apply in their daily life. And especially we as a youth that who has experience and opportunity could acknowledge your friends around or people around to like more realize about SDGs goals. And one more thing that I really want leader to listen our voice and realize that even this young voice also like matter, so they can make a better change in our social for our future. So work in a team and also like let them feel free to express their ideas to create something new for our better social. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And next, can I have Ruka?
Hi, thank you. So I think the first one is making SDGs more inclusive, as I said before, but using it like entertainment or something easy to join, because I feel like SDGs still have the image of political movement that only few people are involved in, especially in Japan, I think. Also, I think it is really important to appeal to young people who are sensitive to social issues, like such as leaders here today. I often hear that such youth who are seriously taking actions on social issues feel kind of uncomfortable when they see some companies and the government touting or pushing SDGs without looking at the essence of the issues, in order to improve their company's image or like to make profit. They so emphasizing why you are working on SDGs and what are your thoughts on it. What kind of change do you want to create? Should be a good way to increase the number of young collaborators. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Yoga, please.
Okay, thank you, Satoko-san. So actually, I have a very brief point about this. So echoing the SDGs goal number 17, which is partnership for the goals, I believe cooperating and empowering each other's idea as well as initiative is fundamental. However, I still see many people, including youth and leader, consider each others as a competition, which I think need to be reframed as a much more positive movement. So like what can be seen here, positive support and cooperation are what our world currently needs, especially in achieving SDGs. Thank you.
Thanks.
And lastly, Kokoro, please.
Yes.
Leaders and young people who have the power to communicate should be providing information. I think this is important. By actively posting on social and other medium about current situation, you will get to reach more people. I'm doing this myself and I'm getting reactions so I can feel the impact. And at the same time, it's important not to assume that everybody is interested in and is knowledgeable about SDGs. We should always remember where we started and should be able to explain in simple as well as in advanced ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, speakers and all the participants, for your unique and inspirational ideas. And last but not least, we'd also like to thank everyone who had contributed to this event happen today. Thank you very much and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you again someday. Let's meet up.